Hello children, in this presentation we will learn about reproduction in organisms. Chapter 1, Part 2. Prerequisites. The five kingdoms of classification are Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Monera includes bacteria, Protista means amoeba and paramecium. Fungi includes Eastern mushroom. Plantae includes simple to complex plants. Algae is a simple plant. Bryophytes means moss and liverwort. Pteridophytes means ferns. Gymnosperms are plants like cycas that produce naked seeds but no flowers. Angiosperms means flowering plants that produce covered seeds. Kingdom Animalia includes animals from sponges to human beings. Prerequisites. Pictures. Monera, fungi, algae, liverworts, mosses in bryophytes, ferns in pteridophytes, cycas as an example of gymnosperm. All flowering plants are called angiosperms. The major concepts what you will be learning: sexual reproduction, features common to sexually reproducing organisms, unusual flowering phenomenon, reproductive maturity in organisms, and events in sexual reproduction. Choose whether the statement is true or false. Sexual reproduction takes place only in animals. False. Sexual reproduction is a process of reproduction involving fusion of male and female gametes. These gametes fuse to form zygote, which develops to form embryo. The embryo grows to form new organisms. Because of the fusion of male and female gametes, the offsprings produced are not identical to each other or to their parents. Features common to sexually reproducing organisms. All sexually reproducing organisms passes through a juvenile phase, a reproductive phase, and a senescent phase. Three phases of life. Juvenile phase. The growing period of an organism before reaching sexual maturity is called juvenile phase. It is also called vegetative phase. Reproductive phase. The period in which the organism attains sexual maturity is called reproductive phase. Senescent phase. The period of old age leading to death ultimately is called a senescent phase. Here in the given figures you can see the three phases in both plants as well as animals. Annual, biennial, perennial plants. Annual plant is a plant that completes its life cycle from germination to the production of seeds within one growing season and then dies. For example, rice. A perennial plant or simply perennial is a plant that lives more than 2 years like mango. A biennial plant is a plant that takes 2 years to complete its biological life cycle. In the first year, leaves, stem, and roots develop. Next year, the plant flowers, producing fruits and seeds before it finally dies. For example, carrot. Phases of life in annual, biennial, and perennial plants. Annual plants and biennial plants show clear-cut vegetative, reproductive, and senescent phases. Whereas perennial plants, it is very difficult to clearly define vegetative, reproductive, and senescent phases. Unusual flowering phenomenon. Bamboo flowers only once in lifetime. Strobilanthes kuntiana flowers once in 12 years. Reproductive phase in animals. Animals undergo morphological and physiological changes during this phase. There are seasonal egg layers like birds, lizards, and frogs. The cyclical changes in the activities of ovaries, accessory ducts, and hormones during reproductive phase is called estrous cycle in non-primates and menstrual cycle in primates. Non-primates include cow, dog, tiger, and primates include monkeys, humans. There are two types of breeders, seasonal and continuous. Seasonal breeders are reproductively active only during favorable seasons, for example, cows and dogs, whereas continuous breeders are reproductively active throughout their reproductive phase, for example, humans and apes. Events in sexual reproduction. There are three events in sexual reproduction: pre fertilization, fertilization, and post fertilization. We will learn pre fertilization first. Pre fertilization events. Gametogenesis refers to formation of male and female gametes. Gamete transfer refers to the process by which male and female gametes are brought together. Gametogenesis. Gametes are haploid cells. There are two types of gametes: homogametes, heterogametes. Sexuality. There are unisexual animals and plants and bisexual animals and plants. Cell division. There are two types of cell division during the formation of gametes: mitosis and meiosis. So we will be learning about these topics in this section, gametogenesis. Gametes. There are two types of gametes. One is called homogametes or isogametes, and the other is called heterogametes. The male and female gametes look similar in homogametes. For example, gametes of cladophora. Heterogametes, the male and female gametes look dissimilar. For example, gametes of fucus, which is an alga, gametes of human beings. Now, these are the pictures of homogametes and heterogametes. Homogametes are also called isogametes. You can see the isogametes of cladophora. These, this is heterogametes of alga fucus. The egg will be larger and non-motile, whereas the sperm or the anthrozoid will be motile and they will be smaller in size. Look at the heterogametes of human beings. The egg or the ova is non-motile, stationary, whereas the sperms, they are small and they are motile. The egg will be larger in size. Anthrozoids. Male gametes of algae, moss, ferns are called anthrozoids. In human, male gametes are called sperms. Female gametes are called as egg or ovum. Gametogenesis. We have already finished learning two topics in this section: gametes and types of gametes. Now we will study about sexuality. Unisexual, bisexual. Unisexual. The condition of having only one type of sex organ in the body is called unisexual. Unisexual plants. The condition is also termed as heterothallic and dioecious, where the male and female flowers are on different plants. Male flowers are called staminate, female flowers are called pistillate. The staminate flowers bear only stamens, whereas pistillate flowers bear only pistil. Examples of unisexual plants: papaya, date palm. Examples of unisexual animals: cockroach. What is bisexual? The condition of having male and female reproductive structures in the same body is called bisexual condition. In plants, the condition is also termed as homothallic and monoecious. Male and female flowers are on same plant. This condition is observed in cucurbits and coconuts. Animals. Examples of animals showing bisexual nature are earthworms, sponge, tapeworm, leech. Bisexual animals are also called hermaphrodites. Unisexual, bisexual. Pictures of unisexual organisms: papaya, date palm, cockroach. Pictures of bisexual organisms: coconut, cucurbit, sponge, leech, earthworm, tapeworm. Unisexual, mercantia, is a liverwort. Mercantia, you can see the male sex organs and the female sex organ are present on two different plant bodies. This is picture of cockroach. Male cockroaches have only testes and female cockroaches will have only ovary. Bisexual plants. This is an example of bisexual plant Cara. It is an alga. This is a textbook image of Cara. You can see the oogonium, which is a female sex organ, as well as antheridium, which is a male sex organ. Both are present on the same plant body. This is the photograph of oogonium as well as antheridium. This is a bisexual flowering plant of sweet potato. Here, this is a dissection of earthworm showing testis as well as ovary both present in the same body. So earthworms are also called hermaphrodites. This is a textbook image of the topic. Unisexual, bisexual. Unisexual. Gametogenesis. So far, whatever we have studied gametes, we have studied types of gametes. We have also finished studying sexuality. About the cell division formed during the formation of gametes. Cell division can be mitotic or meiotic. Mitosis versus meiosis. Mitosis is equational division. The number of chromosomes present in the parent cell and the daughter cells will be the same. As you can see here, the number of chromosomes in the parent cell is equal to number of chromosomes in the daughter cell. Meiosis is called reduction division. The number of chromosomes in the parent cell will be reduced to half in the daughter cell. See, the parent cell has got 4 chromosomes, whereas the daughter cell has got only 2 chromosomes. Cell division during gamete formation. The fact is that all gametes are haploid. In Monera, fungi, algae and bryophytes, the parent body is haploid. So in order to produce gametes, they have to undergo mitotic cell division. In pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms, and most of the animals and humans, the parent body is diploid. So to produce gametes, they have to undergo meiotic cell division. Number in diploid organisms. In diploid organisms, the gamete mother cells are called meiocytes. They undergo meiosis to produce gametes. So the meiocyte is diploid. They have to undergo meiotic cell division to produce haploid gametes. This is a textbook image. You can see here chromosome number in meiocytes and gametes of some organisms. The chromosome number in the meiocyte of human beings is 46. After meiosis, the chromosome number in each gamete will be reduced to half, so it will be 23. In housefly, the chromosome number in meiocyte is 12. So what would be the chromosome number in its gamete? It should be half, that is 6. Similarly, in rat, the chromosome number in meiocyte is 42. Chromosome number in this gamete will be 21. So you can continue the exercise by your own. Pre-fertilization events. Gametogenesis refers to formation of male and female gametes. We have finished studying the topic now. The next, gamete transfer. The process of bringing male and female gametes for fusion is called gamete transfer. In the examples like algae, bryophytes, and pteridophytes, water carries male gametes to female gametes. However, large number of male gametes fail to reach the female gametes. To compensate for this loss, the number of male gametes produced is several thousand times more than the number of female gametes. In seed plants, male gametes are carried by pollen grains. Egg is present in ovule. Pollen grains from anther is transferred to stigma. The transfer of pollen grains takes place in the following ways. In bisexual plants, for example peas, anthers and stigma are located close to each other in the flower. So it is easy for pollen grains to come in contact with stigma. In unisexual plants like papaya, transfer of pollen grains to stigma takes place through pollination. In unisexual animals, male gamete is transferred to female gamete either by copulation or by the release of sperms and eggs at the same time, as in fishes. Water transferring the sperms to egg in bryophytes. Pollination in unisexual flowers. Simultaneous release of eggs and sperms in fishes. When the female fish lays eggs, the same time the male lays the sperms on the eggs to get it fertilized. Copulation in animals, as in lizards. Pre-fertilization events. Gametogenesis refers to the formation of male and female gametes. Gamete transfer refers to the process by which male and female gametes are brought together. So we finished studying gametogenesis and gamete transfer. Events in sexual reproduction. Pre-fertilization is already over. The next we will learn about fertilization. Fertilization is a fusion of male and female gametes. It is also called syngamy. Gametes fuse to form zygote. There are two types of fertilization. One is external fertilization. In algae, fishes, and amphibians, fusion of male and female gametes takes place outside the female body. These organisms show great synchrony between the sexes and release a large number of gametes into the surrounding medium in order to increase the chances of syngamy. Synchrony of sexes means that both male and female mature at the same time and release their gametes into water. The other type of fertilization is internal fertilization. In terrestrial plants and animals, fusion of male and female gametes takes place in the body of female. For example, fungi, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms, and in animals, reptiles, birds, and mammals. The egg is formed inside the body of female. Male gamete fuses with it. The male gamete is motile and their number is very larger than the eggs. In seed plants, male gametes are present in pollen grains and is carried to the egg by pollen tube. Pollen tube carries male gametes to egg. In the given figure, you can see the pollen grain is a carrier of male gametes. It deposits on stigma and produces a pollen tube. The pollen tube carries two male gametes, and the egg is present within the ovule, and ovule is present within the ovary. Events in sexual reproduction. Pre-fertilization, fertilization, post-fertilization. We studied two topics, pre-fertilization and fertilization. Now we will learn about post-fertilization. Post-fertilization events. Definition. The events in sexual reproduction after fertilization are called post-fertilization events. After fertilization, zygote is formed, which is diploid. It is formed in water in case of external fertilization. In case of internal fertilization, the zygote is formed inside the body of the female. In fungi and algae, zygote develops thick wall to protect itself from desiccation and damage. After a period of rest, it germinates. You can refer to the picture, the fusion of gametes forming zygote and then the new individual. In haplontic life cycle, example in algae, zygote will undergo meiosis to produce haploid spores that germinate to form adult algae. You can see the picture here where the zygote undergoes meiosis to give rise to haploid spores. The formation of embryo from zygote is called as embryogenesis. During embryogenesis, the zygote undergoes cell division and cell differentiation. The type of cell division is mitosis. Cell division increases the number of cells, whereas cell differentiation helps the cells to form specialized tissues and organs. Zygote development in animals. Animals can be classified into oviparous and viviparous. Oviparous animals, like reptiles and birds. Fertilized eggs are covered by hard calcareous shell and laid in a safe place in the environment. The young ones hatch out of the eggs after a period of incubation. You can see the reptiles as well as the birds. Viviparous animals. In viviparous animals like mammals, the zygote develops into young one inside the body of female. After attaining a certain stage of growth, the young ones are delivered out of the body of female. Because of proper embryonic care and protection, the chances of survival of young ones in this case is more. Post-fertilization changes in flowering plants. After fertilization, the zygote in flowering plants becomes embryo. Ovary becomes fruit. The sepals, petals, and stamens mostly wither and fall. However, there are some fruits where the sepals are retained. Ovule becomes seed. So you can see in the figure, this is the flower of a tomato. You can see the ovules. The ovules will become seed. Sepals are retained in this case. The pistil remains. Petals wither and fall off. The ovary becomes a fruit. So we have finished the three events in sexual reproduction: pre-fertilization, fertilization, and post-fertilization. Now this is the concept map of the chapter 1. In this chapter, we have learned about lifespan, asexual reproduction, vegetative propagation, which is covered in the PowerPoint presentation part 1. Part 2, we have learned these concepts: sexual reproduction, unusual flowering phenomenon, features common to sexually reproducing organisms, reproductive maturity, events in sexual reproduction. Thank you.